Hi, folks. We're just waiting a couple of minutes before we get started. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat. Welcome.
And fires are burning nicely. They're blocking out the sun. Go and grab your gun like you do.
Hi, folks. We'll just get started in a minute.
Just can't get in the ground. In the ground.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate everyone sparing an evening in the summer. I know that it's precious. We will keep it to 1 hour today, and we have lots of information for you. So let's get started. And please do introduce yourself in the chat. We love it when we see who's here with us and why you're joining. So please do share your name and your location there. Before we get started, I just want to begin with a land acknowledgement. So I'm calling in today from the unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. These are stolen lands on which colonization, like in the rest of so-called Canada, is an ongoing force, not simply a historic event. In our fight for climate justice, we must recognize that our fight is intrinsically connected to the struggle for Indigenous sovereignty. The climate emergency and the fossil fuel economy that perpetuates it disproportionately impact Indigenous peoples, which is why it's critical that in tackling the climate crisis, we must not only tackle injustice against Indigenous peoples, but we need to lift up Indigenous leadership and sovereignty everywhere. True climate solutions are ones that prioritize returning land, control of resources, and governance rights to Indigenous peoples. In short, there is no climate justice without land back. And especially in this time of rising anti-Indigenous racism everywhere, but particularly close to where I live in so-called Vancouver, we must all stand up in material solidarity with Indigenous peoples and their ongoing fight for decolonization. So I encourage all of you to start by sharing the lands on which you're calling in from. And if you're not sure, visit native-land.ca to find out. We'll share the link as well in the chat. So today we have the 350 team on here. We've got myself. My name is Atia Jaffer. I am the Canada team manager for 350.org. And we've got my colleagues, Chris, who is the seniors comms specialist. We've got Johanna, who is national organizer, senior organizer. And we've got Christina, who's the community organizing coordinator joining us for the summer, and Adriana, who is a social media coordinator joining us for the summer. So you'll hear from them at different points throughout the call. Right now, they've waved at you, and you'll definitely see them in the chat as well. We have a really packed agenda, so we're going to introduce ourselves. We're going to jump right in to talking about the political landscape in this country right now. We'll talk about our plans on how to respond to the catastrophic news that we're hearing from our federal leaders, and then we'll take action together and find out how you can take action in your local community wherever you are, and then we'll close. So with that, I'm just going to pass it off to Chris to dive right into the political landscape.
Thanks, Satya. It's great to see so many people on the call here tonight. Folks are still coming in from the waiting room, so it's really wonderful and seeing in the chat how many different parts of the country folks are calling in from. So that's really, really heartening. You're all here gathered tonight because you know that Canada is headed in a troubling direction right now. I'm sure that everyone on the call was relieved that Pierre Poilievre did not become Prime Minister last year, but since coming into office, the Carney government has used Trump's volatility as an excuse to grant big oil everything on their wish list. We've seen a massive rollback of climate action, everything from the pollution cap on the oil industry to clean electricity regulations to anti-greenwashing rules. We've also seen alarming moves to cut back environmental protections. One of the first pieces of legislation that Carney passed was Bill C-5, the One Canada Act. It created the Major Projects Office, which, as you probably know, is headed up by the former chair of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. So it's no surprise that the some of the first projects that have been approved by the Major Projects Office are fracked gas facilities and other extractive projects. Most recently, we saw the feds put forward a discussion paper that proposed giving big oil and other industries a special free pass to ignore the Species at Risk Act and other key legislation. It also talked about creating what we're calling federal destruction zones, where projects could be pre-approved without proper environmental assessment. And of course, we're seeing major handouts to big oil. The spring economic update introduced two major subsidies, one for gas expansion and the other for enhanced oil recovery carbon capture projects, which are basically carbon capture that is specifically for getting the last drops of oil production out of wells and facilities that are near the end of their life. So it's really shameless what's happening in terms of giving big oil everything that they've always wanted. And of course, we're here tonight to talk about Canada's pipeline politics. Big oil and their allies in office are using every excuse they can find to get a new pipeline, multiple new pipelines built. So, does Trump slaps Canada with some more tariffs? Better build a pipeline. Major humanitarian crisis? A pipeline will solve that. Illegal invasion of a sovereign nation? How about a pipeline? They're really just using any opportunity to shamelessly push for pipelines that the climate movement had defeated, in some cases, a decade ago. And we just saw a few months ago the development and signing of the pipeline MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding between the federal government and the Alberta government. Even though we know that another pipeline is the wrong choice for the climate and our economy, Prime Minister Carney went ahead and struck a deal with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith to clear the path for a pipeline. We've got some major red flags with this deal, as I'm sure you do as well. First of all, it proposes that new West Coast pipeline, a major project that would pump the world's dirtiest oil from the Alberta tar sands to the coast of BC. That would mark a major increase in Canada's carbon emissions and make it impossible for Canada to meet its climate action commitments. It also opens the door to more public money to go to the fossil fuel industry. We are already seeing major signs that this new pipeline will be funded by Canadian tax dollars. And the MOU marked the final nail in the coffin for what progress Canada had made on climate policy over the past decade. That included gutting industrial carbon pricing and diluting the clean electricity regulations. So there's some serious issues, as I'm sure you know, with this MOU. And another major red flag is that the MOU is setting us up for vastly expanding and publicly supporting an industry that is robbing Canadians and people across the world in broad daylight. As we've been talking to you as 350 Canada supporters about, as we've been campaigning on, Canadian fossil fuel companies will make 50 to 100 billion in excess profits as a result of the global oil price shock triggered by the Iran war. And while that's happening, while they're raking in these record profits, everyday people are struggling under the weight of an escalating cost of living crisis. So things are bad. It feels like we're stuck in a Groundhog Day where conversations we thought had ended a decade ago, thought we were past as a nation. They're coming back, and the fossil fuel industry is shamelessly just trying to bring us back to this climate denial that we thought we'd gotten past. But there is hope. So I want to leave you with some of the momentum that we're building as a movement. Cracks are appearing in the Carney caucus around climate and the environment. Carney has this slim majority, and there are very definite cracks and wedges that we can take advantage of as a movement. So since the recent proposal to fast track destruction that I talked about earlier, multiple stories have broken about discontent in the Liberal caucus, including 14 caucus members who wrote a letter to Carney with concerns. And public pressure, many of you on the call tonight have participated in our campaign to stop fast-tracking destruction. It's led to major delays around the proposal that would have turned that into legislation. So we've delayed from that being fast-tracked even before the summer recess to now being pushed into the fall, which buys us some serious time. Legal pushback is also growing. Some of you probably saw the news this week that just yesterday, three young Canadians, with support from some of our allies in the movement, launched a legal challenge against the federal government for no longer having a credible climate plan. And shortly after the Alberta Pipeline MOU was finalized, Stephen Guilbeault, former environment minister, resigned as an MP. Public opinion is also on our side. Recent polls indicate that even Albertans don't want their public money going to new fossil fuel infrastructure and new pipelines. So while there is a lot of bleakness out there, and we've seen the gutting of climate policy in the past year, the pushback has started, and we have serious momentum that we want to build on with you. We have a plan to make the most of this opportunity, and so I'm going to pass it now to my colleague Johanna, who's going to lay out that plan.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here tonight and sharing your Wednesday with us. And thanks, Chris, for laying out the context. I know in many ways it seems bleak. I know folks here on this call many of us are angry and upset. I'm seeing that in the chat, frustrated by the way that fossil fuels have hijacked our politics yet again here in Canada. But as Chris said, we actually do have a real opportunity here to make a difference. And the summer is kind of a crucial moment. We are planning now, that's what we're all here to talk about, on hosting a National Day of Action next Thursday on June 25th. And I'm going to lay out what the vision is for this Day of Action and why it's such an important moment for us to be fighting back. Communities across the country are going to be taking action next week. And we're going to come together to call on our MPs to stop capitulating to the greedy tar sand CEOs and instead to sign a deal with the people, one that protects our communities, our climate, and our future. We really need us, Canadians across the country to be saying really loudly and clearly, no to pipelines, no to the backsliding on environmental protections, and no to these endless handouts for big oil. So the People's MOU Day of Action is going to be taking place, like I said, on June 25th, which is next Thursday. And that means it'll be right after MPs return to their ridings for the summer. This is the last week that the House of Commons is sitting for this session. And 1 week before the proposed route for the West Coast Pipeline is due to be announced. So people across the country are going to be taking action at their local MP offices, delivering a massive People's MOU to their representatives' doorsteps. Our goal is to show Liberal MPs that there is actually widespread opposition to their fossil fuel agenda and public demand for actual meaningful action on the climate emergency. And given all the updates and the kind of political context that Chris laid out, this message has never been more urgent. So what is the People's MOU? The federal government's recent MOU with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, as many of you know, really hands the oil lobby everything they've asked for. This MOU that we've put together, that kind of pulls together demands from across the movement, really puts people and the planet first. So it demands an end to the fast-tracking of destructive mega projects and the gutting of environmental regulations, and asks that our government instead uphold Indigenous rights and protect our communities and ecosystems. It also demands that our government stop the construction of climate-burning pipelines that our movement, as Chris mentioned, defeated a decade ago. So no new tar sands pipelines to the Pacific, and in fact, no new fossil fuel pipelines anywhere. We instead really need a roadmap to phase out fossil fuels for good. It also demands that our government stop big oil from reaping record profits while the rest of us pay the price. That means imposing a windfall profits tax on fossil fuel companies and using all that money to fund an east-west grid and the renewable energy transition that we know we need. So let us know in the comments if this vision, the People's MOU, sounds better than what Carney and Smith are pushing. I think this is a vision that is really worth fighting for. So much better, yeah. I agree. Okay, I'm seeing enthusiasm. Clapping emojis. So what are these People's MOU actions actually going to look like? We're imagining people across the country gathering at the offices of their local MPs to deliver these giant People's MOUs for their MPs to sign. So you can see some photos on the screen now of what this has looked like at similar past actions. This could be 50 people, or it could be, just you and your neighbor going to your MP's office. But either way, it really contributes to a powerful national story. And our MPs need to hear from us now more than ever. Our goal is to have as many actions as possible across the country. So we're hoping that everybody on this call is getting ready to take action in your communities, especially at this moment where we're starting to see these cracks and fractures in the Liberal caucus over climate and the environment. And with a pipeline proposal, coming right around the corner, it's so important that our MPs hear from us right now. So we have almost 20 actions already committed on the map. And I'm sure some of people who are hosting those actions are on the call here tonight. So thank you for stepping up. But if there isn't an action planned near you, I'm going to quickly walk through how you can step up and make one happen. And we've made it really as easy as possible. So the first step is just to pick your MP target, ideally a local Liberal, and to pick a time on June 25th. You're going to want to schedule your action for when the office is open so that you can reach the MP or their staffers. And then that way you're going to want to register your action on our website so that we can promote it to people across the country and really tell a powerful story of people taking action from coast to coast to coast. So there's a screenshot here of what that registration form looks like and how you can fill it out. You can always edit the details later, but it's helpful to just register it so we can track it on our map. Step 2, pull together a little team. You actually don't need a lot of people to organize an action like this. And you don't need an organization behind you. People's MOU deliveries can happen at any scale. But you will want to find a couple buddies to help you pull it off so you can share that work a little bit. Step 3 is to make a plan for how you're going to recruit people and promote your event and invite your community to come join you. So we have lots of resources on how to do this in our toolkits. We've got template social media graphics and posters ready to go that will really help spread the word for you. And the next step is to prepare your materials. So I'm just going to quickly invite our designer, Adriana, to come and talk to us about these beautiful visuals that you created.
Hi, everyone. As you know, I'm joining 350 for the summer, and one of my first tasks was to make some materials for everyone to use. So as you have heard, the mandatory prep for this action is the oversized People MOU, which is the one that says People MOU and has the red and green. And you can find a printable version of it in the toolkit. It outlines all of the demands. It has a space for your MP to sign. And we suggest a size of like 20 by 30 inches. So it's a big oversized People MOU. So it's readable and people can see it and it doesn't get like missed by anyone. And of course, it lays out what we are fighting, what we are fighting against, and what we are fighting for. But also we have some signs available for you to print out. So you can see the Stop Fast Tracking Our Destruction, No More Pipelines, Make a Deal with the People. These are some other signs that you can bring with the people that you gather with, and you can hold them, and it makes our message more clear. They are illustrations of pipelines and people power, and it's good to have consistent visuals across the country, across the different actions that there will be, so the actions feel like one and unified and uplift the key messages and demands. But yeah, I'm excited to see all of the beautiful pictures that might come out of it. We have templates for all of it in the toolkit. And I know that if you also want to make social media posts or want to talk to us about doing something in specific, please reach out. We're very happy to support, amplify your action, or support with any materials that you might need.
Awesome. Thanks, Adriana. We also have a local budget to help with printing costs, because I know sometimes those big prop letters can add up. Amazing. Okay, so step 5 is to let the media know that your action is happening. This is optional, again, for depending on the scale of your event and what your local capacity is. You can decide whether or not you want to invite the media, but I would encourage folks to give it a try. You can see some examples on this slide of coverage that past actions have gotten, and it really helps get the word out and spread the messaging and demands to more people in your community and really kind of crank up the pressure on our politicians. And we'll again have resources and templates at our toolkit to make this really simple. And then step 6 is to host your action and deliver your People's MOU. And your action can take whatever shape feels the most comfortable for your team and makes the most sense for your context. Do you mind switching to the next slide, Atia? The simplest version is to just gather outside of your MP's office, welcome attendees, and distribute the signs. Take a big group photo, and then send a smaller crew of people into the office to deliver your big People's MOU. But if you want, you can add other elements. Like you could have some speakers, you could do some chants together, you could hand flyers out to pedestrians who are walking in the neighborhood. You could have chalk or sign making station for kids who might be joining. So it's up to you. You can get creative with it. But do make sure that you get a big group photo, like you can see in this picture on the slide. That's really important because it helps us kind of tell the story of people coming together across the country. Once your action is done, you can send your best photos to us immediately so that we can amplify your work nationally and really tell the story of your action on social media and in the press. And that's it. Then you can pat yourselves on the back for participating in a powerful cross-country mobilization. So it's pretty straightforward, and like I said, these actions don't have to be massive or complicated to be really effective, but our goal is really to reach as many MPs as possible. So we would really encourage folks to sign up if there isn't already an action near you, and we'll be here every step of the way to make that as easy as possible. So I'll now pass it over to Etia to remind us of the stakes of this moment and show us how we can plug into action.
Hi, thanks so much, Johanna. That was so lovely to hear about how easy it is to take action. I just wanted to take a minute to just lay out the stakes. So I have a 4-year-old child. You can see in this photo. This photo is actually taken this Sunday, which we later found out was the hottest Sunday on record. The hottest, sorry, not the hottest Sunday on record, the hottest June 14th in Vancouver on record. It was actually so hot that we ended up going to this river to cool down a little bit. It's a glacial river on a mountain close to us, and we were just so hot that we were just seeking out a body of water to cool down. And yeah, once we found out that it was the hottest June 14th on record, it was really a moment of reflection because I think a lot of my son's life has been marked by historic firsts for major climate events. For example, when in 2023, when he was 1, it continues to be that year was the year where we experienced the worst wildfires on record in Canada. And following that, we've seen so many extreme weather events repeatedly because of the climate emergency. In 2021, when I was pregnant, it was actually when we experienced the heat dome here where I live. It was the deadliest extreme climate event in Canadian history. To this day, it is the deadliest event. Over 600 people died. And actually, June 25th, which is a day of our Day of Action, that will mark the 5-year anniversary of the heat dome. And what's really devastating is to look back on these last 5 years and to think about where Canadian climate politics has gotten to in that time. We have gone backwards. What we hoped would be a wake-up call when over 600 people died during the heat dome was apparently not that. It was apparently the opposite because here we are, we're seeing our climate policies decimated. We are seeing tar sands pipelines being proposed that would be the spark that ignites the carbon bomb that is the Canadian tar sands. A vast fossil fuel reserve that if extracted is just simply incompatible with securing a safe climate and a safe future. So those are the stakes that lay in front of us. And we know that the climate emergency is the existential crisis of our lifetime. Just if we look back in the short life that my child has had so far, 4 years, we've seen so many historic firsts for the climate. What lies ahead of us if we continue on this direction? It's really important to make sure that our members of parliament understand, and many of them do understand the science, they understand the facts, but they are still not meeting this moment, this existential crisis of our lifetime with the courage that this moment demands. So let's remind them. Let's remind them of the stakes, and let's remind them what courage looks like in this moment. Let's remind them what it means to prioritize us, to prioritize our communities, our climate, and our future. Because what will it look like if we continue on this path of climate destruction? It's a future that we simply cannot afford. So with that, I want to pose a question to all of you. Who's ready to take action? If you're ready, post in the chat that you're ready, that you're fired up, you're ready to show our federal leaders what it means to stand with courage in this moment and meet the climate emergency with the leadership that it demands. Amazing. I'm seeing some people pop up in the chat. That's great. Amazing. That's why we're all here today. I know that we all feel this urgency, and the thing is, we can do something about it because we know that this the climate backsliding that Carney is undertaking right now. It is something that is dividing his own caucus. It is something that is a breaking point for Prime Minister Carney's honeymoon, and it's something that we can widen this wedge and we can take action. So I am going to encourage all of you to take action with us on June 25th. So we're going to share some links. You can check out our map and find an action near you. If there's an action near you, your job is really simple. Taking action means RSVPing, and you can, once you RSVP, you can actually message the host and offer to take on a support role if that's something that you have capacity for. And one other thing that you can do is forward the map to 3 other friends to make sure that they find an action close to them, or you can invite them to come with you on this day. So, enjoy your little lunch break from work, or the morning walk before work, depending on when your action is, and take action. It will be very short but very impactful for all of us to take action together on June 25th. And if there is not an action close to you, sign up to take action. So Johanna has laid out for you why it's really, really easy to take action. It could be as simple as just connecting with 3 friends or 3 neighbors, printing out a people's MOU. We'll help you out with a toolkit, with the visuals that Adriana has designed. We'll also have a budget for your printing, and we'll be able to support you every step of the way with the training, with coaching. You can do this. It can be a very light lift action, but it can send a really, really powerful message. So we encourage you to follow the link and register your action at an MP office close to you. And it is really important that we target MPs in this moment, because Chris laid it out very clearly. We are seeing that MPs are breaking ranks with the Prime Minister when it comes to climate change and environmental protection and Indigenous rights. And in particular, this pipeline MOU has been a breaking point. So let's continue to push on this, because even though the caucus is divided, we're not seeing MPs act with the courage that is needed in this moment. So let's see them act with that courage. It is a tenuous majority that Prime Minister Carney has right now. So every vote in the House of Commons matters. And we need to make sure that we push as many MPs as possible to stand on our side, particularly ones that are concerned about climate action. So with that, I see that folks are in the chat talking about the actions that they're planning. I wanted to bring up my colleague, Christina, who's actually planning an action in her community. So I'd love to bring Christina onto the digital stage to chat a little bit about your local action. So could you tell us a little bit about your action that you have planned in your writing?
Yeah, of course. So for our action, we are targeting MP Kareem Bardisi for Parkdale High Park riding, just because he is a member of the Climate Caucus, and we need all climate-minded MPs to be pushing their leaders to change course.
Amazing. That's so great. So could you paint us a picture of what the action looks like?
Yeah, of course. We'll be gathering at 4 p.m. with a massive MOU that I'm getting printed and signs to distribute to attendees. We'll have short opening remarks. I'll give a little speech to welcome people, lay out the context, and introduce the demands. And then comrades from the Youth Climate Corps campaign and Sacred Earth will each be saying a few words. We'll do some chants, pass flyers out to pedestrians on Bloor Street, and take some group photos of the action. Then we'll try to send a crew inside to deliver the giant MOU to the staffers, or maybe even our MP will be home, you never know. And it will hopefully be wrapped up within an hour. And even though it's short, I always find it so powerful to participate in nationally coordinated actions like this, because I know that other communities are doing the same thing on the same day, and it makes all of our efforts more powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much power in coordinated action. I think when all of us are speaking together, it's really impossible to ignore. They can try to ignore 1 or 2 of us, but when all of us are doing it and it's happening from coast to coast to coast, it sends a really powerful message. So grateful that you're taking action. And could you tell us a little bit about how you're informing your community about it, how you're planning to get people out?
Yeah, of course. So for outreach, I have been emailing and reaching out on social media to local groups who are relevant to the riding and also surrounding communities to invite them to help participate and promote the event as well. And in addition to that, sharing it on their social media too.
Amazing. Christina, you've got all the bases covered. This looks like it'll be such a powerful action. I wish I could be there. This was my old neighborhood in Toronto, and I'm so grateful that the constituents are so active and that you're taking action. Thanks for your leadership.
Thank you.
Amazing. Such a superstar organizer. So there you have it. This is such a doable plan, and it's something that anyone can do anywhere. We have tools that make it really easy. When it comes to social media supports, I know some people are just like, I want to take action, but I actually would like for other people to be there. What if no one joins me? Adri, I would love to bring you back to the stage as well, our amazing designer, to just share a little bit about like what are the resources that we have to help people spread the word about their action.
Yes, so we have a lot of resources. We just posted, for example, something in our social media with the action that Christina mentioned in Toronto. So if you want us to spotlight your action, or if you want to for it to spread the word, you can tag us on social media. Now there's Instagram has this collab option, so it's easier for us also to spot it, but we will try to be mapping. And if you need any help or any support, we have made templates that are really easy to modify, but we are also happy to create new templates or create a specific post for your action. So please reach out if you want. But I mean, the toolkit has already like a lot of things that you can find from Facebook, Facebook cover events, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, Instagram templates. Yeah, everything it's in the toolkit, and I'll send the link in a bit.
Amazing. Thank you. And so you're saying that this amazing graphic that we see on this slide, people can customize it for their community. Like you can have a customizable version for it. That's so awesome. That makes it so easy to spread the word because I know half the struggle for me with organizing is like going into Canva and trying to make my own thing. So this is so helpful. Thank you so much, Adri. So grateful to have such amazing design skills on the team. So there you have it. Those are some of the resources that we have offered, but I just wanted to lay out once again what all the resources are all on one slide. So we've got our toolkit, we've got printable action visuals, including a giant people's MOU. We've got printing budget, which is great for your local print shop. You could also print at Staples. We've got a training call coming up on Monday with Christina. There's a link to register, and that will be a call to make sure you can just get all the final things you need to take action or share any supports that you need. We've got social media resources like the ones that Adri just mentioned, and we've got one-to-one support if you need. You can email us at 350canada@350.org if you need any particular supports. And we'll put all these links in the chat as well so you can easily access everything. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and see, yeah, like what is the chatter in the chat? I haven't been paying as close attention, but Chris or Johanna, if you want to update me on some of the questions that are coming up.
Lots of exciting chatter happening. I'm just in the back end of our map and seeing some new actions appear. So I can tell that there's people in the chat who are registering new actions. We've got some new
Wow.
BC actions. We've got something in Montreal popping up. I know folks are probably hard at work on your own computers trying to get some details ironed out. But yeah, really exciting to see new actions come together and that map start to fill out even more. And I know I'm trying to answer people's questions in the chat as best as I can, but I'm sure that I'm missing things because it is moving so quickly. So I'm going to put my email in the chat as well. And if there are people who have any questions that I have missed in the chatter or all these threads on Zoom, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to talk this through with you tomorrow.
Amazing. Thank you for all your hard work approving actions in the back. So I'm just going to show the map so people can see all of the little red dots. It's so exciting. Johanna just mentioned some new ones are popping up. So you can see if you go to our website, 350.org/MOU, that's your one-stop shop. So you'll be able to see our map, and you can zoom in to kind of see the actions closer to you. And you can also scroll down to our action directory and you can put in your city or your postal code to find an action close to you. Oh, there's one happening at Julie DeBrusen's office, the environment minister. So that's great. Yeah, so awesome. And if you have to register your action, you can just go here, click on this red button, and you just fill out this form.
Yeah, I'll also say because a lot of people in the chat are interested in supporting or helping get an action going, but there's already an action happening in your community, which is like lucky for you that one of your neighbors has stepped up. So I will say that once you RSVP for your local action, you have the opportunity to contact the event host, so you can then send them an email through the RSVP page on the event page, and then you can just say that you are part of Raging Grannies and want to participate in the event or whatever else you're able to offer some support.
Yeah, so awesome. So you would just go to an action page, you would sign up, and once you RSVP, you can message the host and offer more additional support, get connected, and that's a great way to also meet local organizers in your community. Is there an event in Winnipeg? There's a question. Yes, there is. Yeah, you can check it out on our map. We've got one in Calgary now, so we've got the coast covered. So many exciting things. This is great. Were there any other questions coming up in the chat? Oh yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones. There's one that I tagged you in, Johanna, that's about Toronto strategy. So if someone is in Julie de Brusen's riding, does it make more sense to try to bring numbers to that, or is it good because there's so many liberal ridings in the Toronto area? Is it good to try to have more Toronto actions? Do you have a take on that? This person was actually offering to organize a Toronto action if there's a gap.
That's awesome. I think it depends on the place. I think that Toronto has a lot of people and a lot of climate groups and a lot of Liberal MPs, so we might actually have the enough people to be able to sustain, a number of actions. There are 2 on the map already. And so if there's energy in a different it's a big city, right? If there's energy in another part of the city and somebody wants to take on a local MP, I think the more actions, the merrier. But if you are a frequent flyer at de Brusen's office and want to support that action, our comrades at Environmental Defense are holding down an action there, and I'm sure it's going to be great. So I see, up to you. But I do think there's some merit to getting this message out to as many Liberals as possible. And I think a lot of these Liberals in the GTA are actually kind of vulnerable on climate, because there's a lot of folks, I'm from Toronto, a lot of us here actually do really care about climate. And those Liberals I think, should feel scared for their seats, given the backsliding that their government is doing.
Another interesting question with a very different context. Maya is in a rural location and only one MP who's conservative. So should they think about adjusting the action design since we're focusing on liberal MPs? I would hate to, turn someone away from participating just because they're in a rural riding. So yeah, what do you think what advice should we give to Maya there?
Yeah, totally. I think, sorry, I missed the question. This is a conservative MP?
Yeah, the question's
Yeah.
I'm in a more rural location and only one MP who is conservative. Any suggestions on anything that should be adjusted since I know the focus is liberal MPs?
I think actions are welcome at any MP's office. I think we're focusing on Liberals because they hold a majority right now, and so they have a lot of power. But the Conservatives certainly need to be hearing from us as well. I think the tone you can adjust your tone based on how friendly or not your local MP is to our cause. I know there are probably some people here who have MPs who might actually be willing to sign the People's MOU, and that's awesome. And that maybe is a bit more of a collaborative tone rather than a more antagonistic one. So I think you can adjust the kind of the vibes of your action, but we would certainly welcome actions at Conservative MP offices as well.
Yeah, totally. I think that this is something that all MPs need to hear about. And I think we need to make the message very clear, because it's also a message that we're sending to the public, we're sending to the local media, we're sending to people everywhere that there is resistance to pipelines, there's resistance to all this decimation of climate policy. So yeah, really encourage everyone to take action. And it can look different if you think your MP is, like Johanna said, if your MP is likely to sign, then your tone might be a little bit different. You might even want to invite them or let them know that you're coming, give them a heads up, because maybe they will receive you and actually sign the People's MOU. So that's something to consider as well, whether you want to give a heads up. If you think your MP might not be as enthusiastic or might actually be adversarial, you might not want to offer that heads up. But yeah, of course, the information is public and up on the map. They likely will close the office and not be there, is what I would expect.
But that doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
Yeah, totally. Do it. And I think the most powerful thing is that we're showing the breadth of resistance. We're showing that there are so many actions happening in so many different places. And our goal really is to have as many actions as possible so that as many MPs as possible can be targeted around this. And it's a really important moment, especially with the 5-year anniversary of the heat dome. We're seeing we're expecting another summer of extreme climate impacts. It's really important to send a really strong message that we are opposing this agenda and that we're standing up for climate action.
Well, thank you, folks. I'm trying to approve people's events as they're coming in, so I appreciate everyone's patience and enthusiasm, and it's really exciting to see so many actions popping up here.
Yeah, things are moving so fast. I'm also like frantically trying to message someone in Vancouver to connect them with other organizers. So this is great. It's great hype in the chat, and we're trying to keep up with all the messages, but there are so many. It's great to see.
Yeah, and I'm really loving seeing the self-organizing that's going on. So people sharing emails and connecting and offering to help out with action. So that's really wonderful to see, and I can tell there's a lot of energy around mobilizing next week.
Amazing. That's so great. Eric is saying, I am so glad that 350.org is doing this. Hope hundreds of us are participating. Yeah, that's great. We're definitely going to be getting the word out. So, all the actions that are on the map, we're going to let everyone know on our supporter list who is in that area that we are hosting an action in that riding. They'll get a notification, they'll get all the details. So, we'll definitely help spread the word once your action is on the map. And of course, we'll have our social media outreach happening as well at the same time. Yeah, amazing. So great. Oh, and thank you, Adriana, for posting the links one more time. So there's the link to register your action. There's the link to RSVP to the training on Monday, where you can make sure that, all your checklist is checked off. You can check out the toolkit. And of course, you can visit 350.org/MOU. It's an easy link to remember because that one is a one-stop shop. It has everything that you need, including the map where you can find actions close to you. And more are going up on the map by the minute, which is so great to see. Amazing. Okay. So I think we were so we kept it within 45 minutes. We had so much enthusiasm on this call. We saw so many great actions registered. And we were planning to hold more space if, we needed to hold that space to ensure actions were added to the map, but it seems like they're popping up. So I just want to remind everyone about the moment that we're in and the broader arc that we're working towards. So MPs are in Ottawa right now. It's the last week of Parliament, last session before Parliament closes for the summer. So next week, that means they will be back in their home ridings for the summer. And as soon as they get back for the summer, we are going to send them a powerful message on June 25th with the People's MOU Day of Action. So it's going to hit them right away as soon as they get home. They're going to hear from their constituents about the kind of leadership that we expect from them. And, this will also come 1 week before the July 1st deadline for getting the route for the MOU pipeline that is coming from Premier Daniel Smith. This is a devastating, destructive pipeline, and we want to make sure that before that pipeline route is announced, that we are sending our message loud and clear that there is resistance to this pipeline, there is resistance to this backtracking of climate policy and climate action that we're seeing, and there is strong support for action on the climate emergency and action for the people. And that is going to kick off a summer of action and organizing. We're calling it the Hot Resistance Summer. So we will have more details on that about the kind of actions that we're going to be doing, both to push MPs and our federal leaders, but also to toxify pipelines and the fossil fuel industry in our communities, because the big oil industry is working hard to propagandize the public, and we're going to work even harder, and we're much cooler, and we are going to toxify pipelines and work against their propaganda. So this is our summer arc. We are kicking it off with June 25th, but it is not the end, it is just the beginning. So please stay tuned for more from us, but just wanted to kind of situate us within this broader timeline. And thank you so much to everyone who joined. Really appreciate you participating today. I know that we're all here today because we feel a tremendous amount of anxiety about the climate emergency, about where federal politics are headed, where the world is headed right now. But really, the antidote to feeling that kind of anxiety and that kind of despair is action. And that is what we're doing together. And we are sending a powerful message together. And we're going to continue sending a powerful message throughout the summer. So please join us. Let's make sure that our voices are heard loud and clear before this July 1st pipeline route announcement. And let's make sure that we win strong climate action in Ottawa. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Really appreciate you all. And everyone that registered for this call will get all of the links. So, if you were frantically trying to take notes, we're going to send the slide deck. We will send a recording. We will send the website and the resources links out to you as well. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's giving me a lot of hope to be here with all of you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
And do we have a final action number? I guess maybe that's what we should close with.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Okay. Well, I can see them still coming in, but we're at 22 actions now across the country. We've got North Vancouver just got added to the map. I see somebody in the chat getting Edmonton going, so many more on the way.
That's great.
Yeah, there's now 3 in Toronto. It's great. Very
Patrick Weiler better be hearing from us. So that's great to see. Okay, and Chris, Lori is reminding us to save the chat as well, which is a great reminder. Thank you, Lori. So we'll make sure that the chat is saved. Lots of great stuff happening here. Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we will stay in touch. And we also have a very cool WhatsApp chat where you can join and connect with other local hosts. So we will be sharing that as well. If you are a local host, you can join the very exciting exclusive chat for action hosts and you can support each other. Amazing. Thanks so much. We're going to close this call, but we'll follow up with email with all the resources that we shared today. And I just want to shout out to my amazing team who are working so hard to make this day of action happen. So thanks so much to Johanna, Chris, Christina, and Adriana. And thank you to everyone who's taking action in their communities. This is such an incredible effort. Appreciate